kind of making it a lazy morning here because Florida sun is hot, and the car is sitting over here, and I need to make sure that all the unwanted guests, i.e. the bees and the wasps, and making sure there's no snakes, are there. But I've been sort of waiting for the sun to kind of go over the building a little bit more to give me some shade. But today's task is going to be ripping out all of the engine bay components that are in here. So we'll be moving out this wiring, you know, vacuum lines, the brake booster, the AC components, just making sure that this bay is completely you know, cleaned out of anything to make Spike's life that much easier when he goes to paint the car. And once all that engine bay stuff is cleaned up and out of the way, I'm actually going to try and get the front bumper cover mounted on a little bit more properly, get the fenders mounted on a little bit better, and then we're going to be mocking up the DECH kit and see how it fits, because a lot of you guys have been asking, does a DECH kit fit on a 4i? Well, this is the video that you're going to find out if it fits or not. So we'll get that all mocked up, and then that way we'll know that the car and everything that needs to go to Spike is ready to go, and we can get the car over there. I do want to have this car done by the end of the year. I did want to have it ready for Foxtoberfest, and it was going to be this car and lemon dropped, but we'll see how far we can get. It's been really challenging with COVID and travel restrictions and everything else, so we'll get it figured out one way or another. The car's getting built, and it's going to be badass, so stay tuned. Let's get this thing stripped down and ready for paint. Alright guys, a couple hours deep here, pulling everything off the car, getting it ready for paint. And one thing that you want to keep in mind if you want your paint job to turn out really, really nice, take as much stuff off as you can, especially in the engine bay. So you can see all the wiring is out, the accessories, starter solenoids, brake booster, clutch cable, throttle cable, and cruise control cable. Once the dash comes out, then we'll be even pulling out the heater box. It has the lines for the condenser, or sorry, the evaporator, and the thing that always leaks, heater core, and be able to get those brake lines off on the backside there as well. Clean some stuff up and we'll be good to go. So what I'm doing now, got myself a nice bin and wiping everything down so it's clean, getting all dirt, grease, cleaning things up using my trusty best friend WD-40, and that way you just kind of know as you're going through everything what's in good shape, what might need to be replaced, and most importantly, when you go to take it out of the bin, everything is clean and ready for assembly. So one thing that's going to have to be done, the whole wiring harness is going to have to be cleaned up, retaped, and you know, just gone through in general. Nuts and bolts and screws, all those guys will have to get cleaned up. They'll be bagged and tagged so that I know which parts go where. And other than that, I have loosely rebolted the fenders and the front bumper cover on because they were just dangling by probably maybe two loose bolts was holding everything together. So this will at least get us in a position where we can mock up the DECH kit. So that'll be next on the agenda. So I got the DECH kit sitting inside the car there. We got it off the wall yesterday without doing any damage to Lewis's 56 Chevy. And what we're going to do now is just kind of test fit and just butt up the kit against the molding and get an idea of what it's going to look like on this car. And that way you guys can see, for everybody that was wondering what the kit's going to look like on a 4i, well, this should be able to give you a little bit of an idea. I'm thinking now, I was originally going to keep a stock hood on the car. I think I'm actually going to go ahead and keep the Cervini's. I was on the fence about the cowl before, but The quality is really good. I know Spike can get it super straight, and I might actually just paint both hoods, and then I'll have the option of what hood I want, or to swap them up, or whatever I want to do later in the future. I think I will be shaving that Ford emblem off, and there'll be a few little subtle tweaks I'm going to do here and there to the car. But anyways, let's get started. We'll see what this kit looks like on here. So I'm just going to clean off the kit here. Looks pretty dirty, which it is from sitting over all the years. Funny thing is this kit's been in Florida for over a decade. I got it for Lewis way back in the day because he was determined to get himself a DECH Coupe at some point. So he brought it down to Florida. He's had it stored, and well, I ended up finding that other clean white Coupe at the end of last year, and the car that I put the kit on that's 100% reversible is actually his car, which meant there was a kit down here in Florida just waiting to go on a car. And since I found this one, I provided him with a kit up there in exchange for this one that's down here. So everything worked out in the end. So what I'm going to do now, I'm just going to tape this guy on to hold it in place. So I'll lift it up, try and support it with some stuff, and we'll tape it on and see how it looks. All right, so there we go. Front skirt fits on there pretty good. We have to remember that that front bumper cover is on there loose. The fenders aren't fully bolted down. This is purely just for test fitting purposes. I went ahead and put the fender molding back on right here. That one is unglued, so it's sitting in the car, so we're not going to have that one. And I'm missing the one on the quarter panel on the back side here, so this side's going to be missing a little bit of molding and trim, but that's fine. It'll still give us a really good idea of how this kit's going to look. So there we are, guys. Passenger side skirt is mounted up there. Everything seems to fit pretty good, you know, where it would butt up against those moldings, which I don't have. It's important to make sure that that line at the bottom side of the door on the rocker panel is straight, and everything looks to be, it butts up against the rocker panel real nice in there. I put a piece of tape to hold it, and so now we'll go ahead and move on to the rear. Typically what you do, you'd rest it on the tailpipes and you drape the sides downward. You get this part fastened. Normally there'd be urethane back here to bond, and then you would slide the two areas that go in the fenders upwards. So don't be afraid to wrestle these on. The tight can be very fit, very snug. Sometimes there's a little bit of excess material on the back side of the skirt just from fiberglass layer buildup, but fiberglass actually has a lot more flex than people would think. So don't be afraid to push it to the limits to get it over the corner. If you get a little bit of spider cracking, well, that's all part of the fit and finish process. So you might have to grind into there and do a little bit of fiberglass repair on the, or if you get any little cracks, sometimes there's air voids in the fiberglass. Sometimes there's little imperfections in the gel coat that's on top. So you can't expect perfection out of the box. Even Cervini will tell you the same thing. You want to let your fiberglass and your gel coat breathe when you first get your products from them that are made out of fiberglass. And if you do everything, you follow the steps, and you treat fiberglass properly. If you got cracks, you got to grind into the glass and make the repair down inside the glass. It's like welding. You got to get into the material and not just try and repair stuff on the surface, or those cracks are going to come back. Kit is mocked up and gives you a look and feel of what a 4i is going to look like with a DECH kit. The car almost looks cool with the multi-tone theme that's going on. What do you guys think? Just imagine some nice big exhaust tips coming out the back. There won't be a wing on this car. And if you haven't seen the render of my vision for this thing, be sure to check that out. I think this is going to be a badass ride. You know, it looks a lot better already just from the initial reaction that I had when I first saw the car. But you know, it's a diamond in the rough. It's a very solid car, except for, you know, the corrosion in the doorpost on the passenger side there, that small spot on the floor in the back. But other than that, this thing's going to look sweet. I'm going to put the hood down for the full effect. All right, so just in case you guys are wondering, you know, frame rails, super clean. There's a little bit of corrosion down there, no big deal. Everything is tidy here. And you'd be hard pressed to find a lower rad support that's as clean and as straight as that one. So overall, I'm really impressed with the car and excited to see how it's going to turn out. Hopefully you can see the same vision that I do. That hood, I think, fits the lines real nice. You know, shave that Ford emblem out of the front there. Most likely smoke out the turn signals in the bumper. And I'm gonna go with the like the clear headlight covers like the Salines did, and that should give it like a nice, I don't know, a more modernized look yet retro. And these buckets and all of these moldings are going to be a silver color, and the car is going to be white. All the trim on the top half will be satin black, no chrome up there. And so yeah, all those door moldings will be a silver or maybe more of a charcoal color to match the ROH Modena wheels. So we'll stick those on there or something similar. I'll probably change the wheel choice by the time the car's done, but we'll see. For now, that's what I'm going with. And I have another idea in terms of wheels that I might stick on here. So we'll see. I got to think about it a little bit more. It'll be different, but I think it'll tie everything together quite nicely. So there you guys have it. 86 4i Coupe down in Florida. Made a productive couple days down here. Got the car ready. Saw what the kit's gonna look like. Stripped things down. Met Spike from Spikes Refinishing. And I'm excited to get this thing sent off and get it back in one color and start putting this thing back together.